film is huge because we're storytellers. And when you can engage in a story film, it is so powerful.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the HighLevel Spotlight Sessions, where we showcase awesome marketers doing awesome marketing. Today, I'm joined by James Hall. He's the COO of Reverent, which is a story brand, full suite marketing and media agency that services clients, that's been servicing clients since 2008. They're a seven-figure agency, and their client portfolio is over $1 billion. James, thanks so much for coming on.
Absolutely, Chase. Thank you for having me. It's a joy to be here with you talking about how to help agencies grow and grow their businesses that they serve.
Yeah. So, having a look at your website, it's a really tight website. I love how clean it is. And what really jumped out at me right away, and I'd love to ask you about this, is your focus on video. So you've got three really high quality videos that you showcase on your homepage. How big is video as far as your agency and your services?
Yeah, absolutely. The answer is huge. As you can tell, I was actually just talking with one of our clients a couple weeks ago. They're a nonprofit, and we created a film for them. And so I said, hey, I want to know the details, tell me everything that happened. And they said, well, we're a small nonprofit. We worked with you guys. And so within 2 weeks of launching a film with y'all, they were able to raise over $30,000 just from that film organically. They didn't even boost it.
Wow.
So film is huge because we're storytellers. And when you can engage in a story film, it is so powerful. And the conversion rates just go through the roof. And of course, when you can make someone, tear up, Chase, you're going to get them to move. And so whenever you're sending out these donor films or even helping a business clarify and tell people what they're doing and why they should engage in a brand, there's nothing close to film.
It's so true. And I loved when I asked you, hey, how do you guys introduce your business? Like, what's your elevator pitch or whatever? Story brand was the first term that you threw out. And I thought, oh, that's unique. That's interesting. I don't usually hear people describing their agencies as story brands. So that's why I was pretty confident when I asked you how big of a role does video play, that you were going to say huge. And obviously you guys do a great job of it. Now, is that all in-house? So this is a challenge, right? I think most agencies would agree that if you can create great video for clients, it has an amazing impact. The challenge is, well, as soon as the client's outside of your town, what do you do? And how do you scale video production? Talk to us about that.
Oh man, yeah. So the answer is that our editing crew is all in-house, top notch, and we have done everything we possibly can to bring the rest of it in. I've got a couple of fantastic filmmakers that are a little bit outside; they're subcontracted with us, but our internal editors have turned into these phenomenal video producers. And the answer is, it is challenging. It's not easy to create film, especially good story. I mean, you have to sit down and really identify the problem that someone's really facing, right? Because, as we all know, in a good story, there's a problem, right? I mean, Luke doesn't beat Darth Vader. The problem is that there's a Death Star, we're all about to die, it's a big story, something's about to happen. And the answer is how does this hero, guided by Yoda, right? How does this story get through, this character, this hero get through this story? And turning that into business is an art. And we have some phenomenal people, and it all comes together in the editing suite. And we've got a guy named Daniel Miller, and he is next to nobody, in my opinion, when it comes to film. And so we always tell people, you want your clients engaging in the story that makes them the hero and you the guide, and you want to help them get to the end of their story. And that's what we do for people in a story film, as we call them.
It's incredible. I've started and I haven't picked it up in a little while, The Hero's Journey, but it's a tale as old as time, right? And once you master that ability to create that story, you can really move people, like you mentioned. And for anybody listening to that and thinking, wow, that's a big claim, go to reverent.media and watch the Tiger Schulman's video that they made, and it will move you. And when you listen to you describe what you just said, it's super clear. There's a problem, right? My kid was being bullied. He had no self-esteem. We got him in this program. Tiger Schulman's guided him to confidence. Now our whole family is different. You tear up. Yeah. It's incredibly powerful.
Absolutely.
And so I don't want you to throw out, you don't have to give me exact numbers, but I do think one of the challenges that agencies can find themselves in is oftentimes someone close to one of the employees is making videos, right? Maybe it's
Oh, all
your
the time.
son who's into skateboarding or your nephew or whatever, and you can
Yeah.
get some great video. And it's like, hey, do you want to work for us? Let's get some client stuff going on, and you really underprice it, right? Can you give me an idea? I mean, do you guys have a floor that you can't even work on a project if it's not at least a certain amount?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, let me just say this, and generally, depending on, when it comes to the industry you're in, because again, we're talking about each industry. We work in a lot of different industries. And so I'd say probably like the bottom range is somewhere between like 2 and 5K. It just depends on what industry you're in, because if you're in a certain industry, I can't quote you less than 5K, because for the production value to compete in that space is a certain value. Where if you're in let's say not as many people are creating a certain level of content right in a space, then you can go a little bit lower into the 2 to 3 range, but it depends on the industry.
Thank you for sharing that. I feel like that might be an
Absolutely.
eye opener to some early, younger agencies considering getting involved.
Yeah, and the answer
Is
is this, you want to tell people about the value of film, right? You don't want to just walk into a meeting and be like, "Hey, here's this $10,000 film," and they're like, "What in the world is happening? I can't. Oh, what am I going to get back for this?" And the answer is we don't recommend things at Reverent unless we know an ROI is going to come on the other end, because we tell people all the time, it's like there's marketers out there everywhere that will gladly spend your money with no return on investment. And we just don't roll that way. We say, no, like, here is what's going to happen with this film. We're going to put it on these platforms. We're going to run it. And the story is going to be unified. Your messaging is going to be unified all around the same story. And so, yeah, if you're trying to get into the film industry, first of all, you need to have a passion for it. And secondly, you really want to make sure that your story and the quality of what you're creating is top notch. If you just go out there and try to make junk content, people won't consume it. They just won't. The demand for high quality content is before us. And I think it's going to be the next 5 years. Quality content is going to really be a difference maker for companies, whether or not they're on the top end or on the bottom end when it comes to serving clients.
I didn't plan for this interview to be all about video, but I
same here, but it's great. I love it.
I'm super fascinated about it. I think we never talk about it. So I'd love to ask you a couple more questions. One, is there a network yet where you can hire on-demand filmers, knowing that you have an in-house editor? It's like, hey, we just need someone to go get the shots and put them in the cloud, and then we can take it from there. Is there an Uber for filmers yet?
There's becoming one. I'm actually was on the floor a couple of years ago, and we just rolled out a new website. So Filmmaker.network is a network primarily where people are going to join a network. So if you're a filmmaker, you want to go there, okay? And then if you will reach out to them, they will actually connect you with people in your area who are top-notch filmmakers. And they have to go through a whole interview process, and they're being vetted. Because, I mean, like you said, anybody with an iPhone could be like, I'm a filmmaker, but they're not filmmakers, right? And so that's like the beginnings. But there's also good Facebook groups you can join. A lot of times the filmmaker networks that exist and have existed all want to be buddies and help each other grow, which is great. The problem is if you're a business or an agency and you want to connect with them, what do you do? And the answer is jump on Facebook, join those groups, go to filmmaker.network and reach out to them and say, hey, I'm in this area. Do you have a filmmaker nearby that you would recommend? And start that conversation.
That's super cool. And so the other question I wanted to ask you before we move on is, a lot of times I feel like people go into a project like that of like, the end goal is this one video. And then, like you said, what are we going to do with this one video? Sure. In my mind, where we're going, and I'm sure, like, tell me about what you guys do with it. But I've always found in the process of shooting a great video, you get so many fantastic clips that you can slice up and do a million different things with. Do you guys have like when you pitch it, is it like, yep, you're going to get one video and here's the price? Or are you like, no, you're going to get like, this whole slew of content?
Great question. The answer is what's our end goal as an agency for a client? Okay, so if our end goal is kind of a sweet answer to video content, we're going to say, hey, we're going to do 1-2 days worth of production, and out of that will come a beautiful background video for your website. Out of that will come your story film, you telling the story, to your audience, a testimonial film right? And then a ton of great content for ads. So lots of those little 15-minute, 15-second YouTube ads.
Yeah.
All of that kind of comes out of one shoot. It just depends. Again, that's why everything in video is you're kind of scoping to what it is that you think needs to happen. Because if a client has nothing and they've got the budget, right? You always have that weird matrix of like time and money. Like which one do they have?
Mhm.
If the answer is they got money but no time, you're like, okay, let's make a lot of great content for this client, and then let's put it in all the different avenues to help them win.
And the reason I asked that question is because, I love talking to people who do really good, interesting things in their nurture automation.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's so night and day when you see somebody like that, who, let's say a client of yours who's got this bucket of great content that you can throw in to your nurture versus a nurture campaign that's like, hey, thanks for claiming, don't forget to book. And then the next day it's like, hey, you haven't booked yet, don't forget to book. And then it's like, hey, your offer thing is about to expire if you don't book. Versus what you could do with like, day 2. Hey, by the way, I'd love to introduce you to another customer of ours, Susie. Here's her story. Mm-hmm. And then it's like the next day, some other piece of video content. I mean, I just think it's completely a game changer when you can get to that level. So thanks for going on this video tangent with me.
For sure. It was great. Love it.
So let's talk about nurture. You guys, I read a stat. I don't know if Robin passed it to me or something, but you guys, I think it was the first client that you guys put onto HighLevel. Once you got their automation set up, you saw a jump from like 40 to 80% or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Reverent wedding film. So they're wedding.film, fantastic wedding film. I think they're the best. Okay. They're one of our clients. We've been serving them. We're kind of like sister companies in some way. And so whenever we first started to roll out HighLevel, we rolled it out internally back in 2020, but I started to roll it out to our clients in early 2021 this year. And I looked at them and I said, look, we have been using a variety of different tools to make things happen for you. I was like, let us roll out an ecosystem that it's all together and it all works. And I'm telling you, Chase, it was just nothing but grins from them whenever we got things going. A little bit of hesitation. All salespeople are a little bit nervous when you first introduce new software. But yes, that exactly the numbers you said is what happened. We rolled out what I simply refer to as an automated pipeline. Okay. So, I mean, basically, people are getting a form, right? Information's coming in. Automatic triggers are all set up to move them along in a pipeline. The salesperson's dragging and dropping them. And the biggest problem they had, Chase, was that 40 to 80%, the reason that was such a huge jump was because if you can get a bride on a telephone call, your chances of getting a sale are much higher, right? Versus just texting with them or whatever. So when we rolled this out, they had not had text messaging and email kind of a 1-2 punch in regards to their marketing. And so when we rolled out the automated pipeline for Reverent wedding films, in the first 2 weeks, they went from 40% conversion rate to 80% conversion rate, which was just astronomical. They were so happy. I mean, everyone was just nothing but grins. It was a challenge to set it all up, but we sat down and we wrote it all. And we had the nice little flow. It was funny. It was like 2 weeks before the workflows came out. And so we lay out this huge, beautiful workflow, and Lucid Arts or whatever. It's okay. Hey, it's beautiful now. I'm loving it. Right. So, but the ability to continue to nurture somebody and say, hey, let's get on a phone call. And then for the scheduling appointments, tool to be the same ecosystem where it's all connected, we're sending out that 24-hour text right before you jump on a call with somebody. All that being automated was a huge win for Reverent wedding films. It was huge.
Oh man, I can only imagine in that industry where, of course, you're creating great video. There's so much great nurture content that you could fill that automation with. You mentioned something that I'm really glad that you pointed that out. You rolled this out to an existing client. And I think a lot of agencies coming into HighLevel struggle with that. They're like, this is great, and we're going to implement it for new clients moving forward, but we really don't know how we could retroactively go back to existing clients and sell this to them. And I love the way that you said it. You were like, hey, we've been working on this new ecosystem. Let us implement it for you. Yeah. I think that was pretty subtle and kind of smooth way to go backwards with it.
Yeah, sometimes I feel a little bit like a salesman, when it comes to some things. There's a huge problem in the software industry. And what it is that everything that somebody needs for marketing is not all in the same software. And that is where HighLevel has been next to, no one, in my opinion, is close to HighLevel in regards to being able to say, look, we're going to do forms to leads, to pipelines, to scheduling, to phone calls. And then all of that wrapped up in, by the time you get to your pipeline, great data and reporting, it's all in the same place. at this moment, I have now moved all of my clients that I call marketing clients out of whatever they were in into HighLevel, because it's, in my opinion, the best. So
That's fantastic. That's great to hear.
yeah.
Well, so hey, before we wrap up, give me some other thoughts. You guys are obviously a very successful agency. You're a seven-figure agency. You've got a deck of your clients doing over $1 billion, which is an insane number.
Yes.
Looking back, if you're talking to a young agency entrepreneur, an agency that's just getting started, what are some of the hurdles that you feel like could have been shortcut with the information that you have now?
Oh man, that's a great question. I've been asked that actually a couple times now, just recently by some folks. They say, "Hey man, what's some of the hurdles you jumped over, and how did what would you have done differently?" First thing that I definitely would have done is simplify your business. Don't try to complicate it. I'm not saying necessarily. Some people are like 100% like, well, niche down. Like always niche down, which is good advice. And if you don't have a team around you that's excellent, and you're like slowly taking your time, then that's fine. But even if it's just you and 2 or 3 other people, don't try to complicate what it is you're doing. Try to simplify, get your core values down. Never move on your core values ever. That's probably the number one thing I tell people, like, know what your core values are as an agency, because there's a lot of opportunity, for dishonesty or fudging the numbers a little bit. And so you want to make sure you have who you are down, and then be very clear about who you want to work with, and say no to people that you need to say no to. And at that point, basically care about your clients. There's been some times that I have made the mistake of not caring about the client as much maybe as I would have liked to. And I've lost a couple of clients because of that. But the ones that I have gone, let's just say the extra mile for, those are the ones that have stayed with us and grown. Don't be scared. Don't be scared to take on a big fish. Don't take on a fish that's way bigger than you, right? So don't take on an appropriate size of a client, and build up. Be patient with yourself, right? Things don't just happen overnight. And anybody who's watching this, Chase, they're using HighLevel, and I'll say this tool is revolutionary in my opinion. You have a fantastic product basically on your tool belt. And so the question is what are you going to do with it, right? And my recommendation would be to take one client at a time and sit down with them maybe once a month, once every other month, or maybe 2 weeks or so, and show them all the ways that they can increase getting more leads. Because at the end of the day, a business owner wants to know, how do I get more people who are leads turning into customers? And if you care about that as much as they do, you'll do great in the marketing space.
That's fantastic. So you guys also consult, right?
Absolutely.
And if people are interested in more information around consultation, I think the URL is not your homepage, right?
No, it's just reverent.media/ BMSU, Business Made Simple University. This is a coaching program we're a part of. I recommend it to everybody who wants to know, hey, where do I start to be, like Reverent Media? And the answer is simplify your business and become a great business leader. And the way you do that is you go through the Business Made Simple University curriculum. It's everything from how to negotiate, how to communicate, marketing made simple. Everything you need to start is in that platform. I tell people, go to this link, click get access, go through all the curriculum, and you'll be off on the right track for how to run your business and run your agency.
Nice. I should have asked you this earlier. One more question for you. Where are you guys located?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're based in Houston, Texas.
So if you get a client inquiring and they want a video created, and they're in, Maine, sure, how do you guys handle that situation?
So the way we currently scope that work is we treat it as if we were in Houston, and then we just ask the client to cover the cost to travel, right? So we make it real simple.
If that's the case and you can service video clients anywhere, do you also, could somebody partner with you to have you guys produce video for their clients?
I'd say contact me about it, because I think it's a unique case. We always want to make sure that the ROI is really high on all of our work. And so if someone wants to reach out to me, absolutely do it. Please reach out. The email's on the Reverent Media website, and let's have that conversation. I'm open to that. I just want to make sure that I know the end goal, ultimately for all of our clients, because that's what we care about. I mean, that's what we want to do, is care for whoever we're working for. And if you want a video produced, in another city, and you want us to help you with that, yeah, definitely reach out to us, and we'd love to have that conversation.
Awesome. Sorry to put you on the spot, but I really feel like a partner, a resource to go to produce that level of video can really change things with your clients. So I figured I'd ask on behalf of everybody.
For sure.
But James, thanks so much for coming on, man, and sharing all this with us.
Chase, I appreciate it. And thank you so much. And keep doing all the good things over there at HighLevel. Appreciate you guys.
We will for sure. And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one.